Hello and welcome to LNP's The Huddle. I'm Tim Gross, joined here by John Walk and Laura Thompson. Guys, there's some rain in the forecast the back half of this week. Hopefully it clears up by the time kickoff comes around Friday. In the meantime, we have some forecasts for high school football games. So let's talk about our game of the week, which is Cocalico at Manheim Central. We'll also be talking about Manheim Township at Conestoga Valley. Game of the week, Section 2. This is always a matchup that both teams, I'm sure, circle in their calendars as soon as it comes out. Cocalico Central, as good as it gets in Section 2. How do you see that one playing out?
Yeah, we're starting to wonder now, is anyone going to beat Manheim Central? We think the Barons are back to being the Barons of old. It should be a good one. Offensively, both teams are well-balanced. Manheim Central a bit more than Cocalico. I was out at that Cocalico game last week, and an impressive win over a good Elizabethtown squad. In that game, the line opened up holes, and 6'1", 200-some-pound running back. He's only junior. Brandon Brubaker was running over guys, 178 yards and 3 touchdowns. So he's going to be tough for anyone to bring down. But the Cocalico defense, I think, is what is the most important part here. They have been improving from the first 2 weeks to the last 2, but they're still giving up an average of more than 300 yards a game. And they'll be going up against a Manheim Central offense that just seems to be getting better. Coming into last week, they were tops in Section 2 in total offense, and then they went out and put up close to, total was 594 yards, as a season high against a good Lampeter Strasburg squad. Plus, the Barons went back as a good stat. They have not punted since week 1, which I think is important to point out. They're probably going to punt 2 or 3 times on Friday, but I don't see that stopping them. Manheim Central wins it this Friday.
Sir, what can you say about Central? Other than the fact that their Thanksgiving plans are probably going to involve football this year. It seems like every other week they're finding another dude that they can give the ball to, who can do something with it. Last week it was Tyler Flick who just kind of stepped out of the backfield and said, "Hi, here I am. I'm here too." So now, you've got him coming out of the backfield with Jay Barreto. You've got Cody under center. He can either run the ball or throw the ball. You've got a cast of seemingly thousands who can step up and catch him. It's like an old Busby Berkeley musical. There's lines of dancers coming in to buck and will their way into the end zone. Plus you've got this offensive line that, for a good all-purpose word, they're stacked. And we haven't even begun to talk about the defense. Meanwhile, there's Cocalico. Coming off a good win for them last week. They showcased a lot of versatility. You mentioned Brandon Brubaker, 3 touchdowns, 178 yards. He looked great out of the backfield. But as Coach Matt Gingrich said on Friday, they've shown great heart, they've shown great improvement, but they're just not quite there yet in his mind. They haven't put together a consistent 4 quarters of football. And I think it would take a perfect trip for them to beat Central. So yeah, I'm taking Central here.
I agree with you guys. I think Cocalico at 2-2 is actually going to be a really tough out moving forward into Section 2 and maybe the playoffs if they make it. But, I think right now where the 2 teams are at, I think Manheim Central has so much firepower. The interesting thing is going to be up front, and the Cocalico has a pretty experienced line. So to see if they might be able to challenge Central and maybe hold them a little bit, like you said, get them to punt a couple times. We'll see what happens. But, I think Manheim Central is just clicking on all cylinders right now. Everyone thought, Lampeter Strasburg is going to be the toughest team they'll face in the early first 4 games of the season, and they answered that challenge pretty sufficiently. So I think they're up to the challenge again. The Barons win on Friday. Going up to Section 1, we've got a Manheim Township team going into Conestoga Valley. Township's 2-2, CV's 3-1. They're both coming off pretty big wins. CV beat McCaskey 43-21 last week. Township all over Hempfield 33-3. Which team carries the momentum past Friday?
Yeah, I'm really split on this game. Defensively, I think both teams are pretty evenly matched. Just going back the last few weeks for Manheim Township, the defense, they were strong in a tough loss to Governor Mifflin and a win over a struggling Hempfield team. Conestoga Valley defense last week had a safety and a touchdown. On the offensive side of the ball, I think is where Manheim Township gets the edge. Conestoga Valley, they are averaging a little over 100 yards rushing to go along with the bread and butter passing game of Grant Stoltzfus. But Manheim Township, they're averaging a little over 200 yards rushing behind the talents of Grayson Saladay and Matt Van Gordon. Plus, they have a good quarterback whose last name I can't pronounce, and my apologies to you, Luke. I think this will be a good one. I have to pick. I'll go with Township, but I'm not feeling great about it.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I was waffling. This is the game I've been waffling the most over this week because the Buckskins are looking pretty darn solid at the skill positions. They've got a wealth of experience back with Grant. He's piloting well. Beating up McCaskey last week. They rolled up. I think it was what do I have here? 136 yards on the ground and 181 in the air. Defensively, they're no slouches. Last week against McCaskey, the defense added a touchdown and a safety. So that's not a bad performance, but that defense is going to have its work cut out for it against Township. Their offense has the ability to chew a good amount of time off the clock. Luke, MG, and again we apologize to you, Luke, if we're screwing up your name. He came here from Fleetwood, out of my native land of Berks County. He's really getting his legs under him in terms of learning coach's system at Township. He ran for 75 yards last week, and that's not saying what he's thrown for. He's got Saladay and Van Gordon, and all told, I think the streak's nearly hung 440 yards of total offense on Hempfield. So again, although I waffled a fair bit on this pick, I am coming down on the side of Township as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic with the two quarterbacks. I mean, Grant Stoltzfus has been a 4-year starter, and he's really gotten to know those guys pretty well, so he's really experienced there. Luke MG, of course, his first year at Township. I think that offense is just going to keep getting better and better as he gets more comfortable. So I think, with that combination, I think it's going to make it really hard on the Conestoga Valley defense. So I'm going to take Manheim Township as well. So those are our picks. Be sure to check out LancasterOnline.com Friday night for all the coverage. And be sure to let us know how we're doing on social media. So thanks for tuning in.